Agents Podcast.
Today we've got a different take, or maybe a different lens perspective on how we are attacking and discussing all of the changes that are affecting the real estate industry, obviously specifically as it relates to buyers agents, and for so many in the industry who are very concerned about what this means for their future. And so our guest today, we were rapping about this before we went live, and we're going to talk about seeking new revenue streams. And I don't want you to take this as, hey, you need to just vacate and leave real estate. No. This is seeking revenue streams within the field that you're already in and potential opportunities that you may not be seeing. And so if that interests you, go ahead and buckle up and listen in, because this is going to be a good episode with our good friend Brian Hoialmen. He is the Chief Strategy Officer, a real estate SaaS expert with Lofty. Brian, welcome to the show, my friend.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm excited about the topic, something we talk about every single day, obviously, whether it's at an event, a show. We can't get away from this topic today, and the anxiety and the where do I go? What's going to happen? And in reality, it's an opportunity to improve, not an opportunity to look back and go, what happened? And so what we're really talking about is taking this opportunity to create a better way to go about the business today and pivot around and create better opportunities for agents, brokerages, property management, mortgage. This is affecting everybody, right? And so every time the industry has changed, it's always changed for the better. And I think no matter what's happened in the space. And so I think in a way, like you said, buckle up. I think we're in for some fun if we can move past the anxiety. How do we pivot? What do we need to do? And I think agents, this will be a fun topic for them.
Absolutely. And as you kind of mentioned there too, it's perspective. I think a lot of people, it's doom and gloom, and others and I've interviewed a bunch of people that it's like, hey, this is business as usual. I'm excited for this. And it's really a cup half full, cup half empty. And I think perspective really goes a long way to your success as an individual real estate agent. And so Brian, let's digress for a second, and I'd like to know a little bit about you, because you and I just met for the first time. So I mentioned you're a SaaS expert. That's becoming kind of a mainstream term, but for people who don't know what SaaS is, can you explain that, but also kind of tell us about your journey that led you to where you are today?
So dealing with SaaS is really about software as a service. So that's really what it means. It's technology to service your needs, whether it be consumer needs, customer needs, whether it's CRM. And I think there's a misconception of SaaS in this space. But we think that SaaS is CRM. And I often hear CRM. You need a CRM. A CRM is a piece of the puzzle. It is not the full puzzle of SaaS. SaaS is about what we are defining in our space is really search to settlement SaaS, which means you have the consumer that is using your IDX, your property, your whole journey to settle. And that could be settled to have a rental. That could be settled to have get the keys to your beautiful house for the first time. And that whole search consumer to settlement is very unique SaaS in the space today. I think that's a great question that I get asked a lot. And I love that you asked it. Is B2B is help me do my job as an employee to employer SaaS. And that is a huge, huge market. In real estate SaaS, we have consumers to settle, and agents are part of that journey. Mortgage is part of that journey. Property management, title, it's very complex. And so when we think of Lofty and what we're doing as an organization is to connect all of those dots as we grow our platform to be the consumer to settlement platform for the real estate prop tech space. And that would be the way to defend. As far as me, I've been in the space for about 20 years, going back from websites at Z57 early days, before there was really almost the advent of websites when you had to wireframe websites and a fax machine to sell them, which is kind of odd. But there was no way to sell a website. So you sent pictures to where we are today, which is having a end-to-end solution that an agent can log in and generate a lead in 7 days and potentially close them through one tech stack. That's kind of evolved how we are today. So I've been involved in multiple companies, multiple SaaS companies, helped develop a lot of products in the space. And I really enjoy the topic. So looking forward to having that
Awesome.
conversation with you.
Well, let's jump right in because, again, I mentioned, seeking a new revenue stream and obviously the conversation primarily up until this point, and we're past obviously the D-Day in August when this airs. It'll be sometime in September when someone's listening to this, or later maybe. And, so we're already into this at this point, but the conversations up until this point have really been, how are we going to justify our value and our agent or our buyers now are, is the consumer just going to work around us? And that's what kind of led you to this this idea around this topic, which is seeking other revenue streams. So, and I know what the answer is here, but I want you to tell the audience, like, where are we going with this conversation? Where should they be looking?
That's a great question. And I'll start by saying we often have siloed ourselves into, I'm a listing agent, I'm a buyer's agent, I'm this over our career in real estate, and I've been an agent and I understand. And that mentality, or we work with buyers and sellers. And this siloing of that mentality to the consumer is what led us to where we are today. Meaning no one wants to be treated like a buyer. Hey, just help me buy my house. And it's really helped me as an asset, of the biggest asset, develop a whole relationship with that experience that we're supposed to be doing as agents. And so I think over the buying leads online, all that stuff has put us down this path of devaluing who we are as professionals. So I'm going to speak in the mindset of an agent. As a professional, our job ultimately is to take a renter and a homeowner and create an opportunity and a revenue stream for us to help them manage their journey. And that journey can take place 5 or 6 different ways, where they might be buying a house from me one day, and that might be managing that as a rental property later on. And so how do real estate professionals manage homeowners and renters to go and have a place to live as an asset class is, I think, where we need to go, and what we need to be thinking about as professional servants to the needs of that consumer. And I think we can do that through a different way that we think about technology and how we use technology to create revenue opportunities for those two personas, a homeowner or a renter. And I think that's the kind of starting point of this conversation we need to start off with. And then how do we manage that and make, unfortunately, we're in the making money process, but how do we create wealth through those different lenses?
Yeah. Well, so the obvious is, you're already dealing with homeowners. And so where do you, if an agent is, I'm all ears, I want to listen to this, I want to hear what you suggest. How would you even, like, what's the starting point other than maybe reaching out to some of your homeowners or friends who want to be investors, or some that are already investors? What is the starting point here? Do you have to build a process by which to almost like a listing presentation? Here's my property management presentation. Like, where do we start?
That's a great question. So the channel for Lofty and Lofty Works, which is just what we're here to talk about, today as a channel, but what we see in the property, and as we develop Lofty Works, which is our property management software that can be merged together with a SaaS product, meaning Lofty as a all-in-one solution, consumer facing to close. Well, in that journey is also renters, right? And so a lot of agents are looking to say, okay, how do I maximize my value? So in other words, on the property management side of things, that's very challenging and time consuming. So that technology and the way that agents get into that side of the business as a revenue stream can be daunting. Whereas property managers that are also wanting to get into residential sales. So what we have right now is these two entities combining into one mentality, one market channel that hasn't been done in real estate. And there's a couple things to think about. So all the brokers listening in, and if you want to expand into this channel, or if you're an agent that wants to do this, or a team, we deal with thousands. We have 60,000 users, and I deal with brokers every day. And this question comes up on every call. Are you looking to get into property management? Yes, we are. Why? And the answer to that question is, for a broker or a team, it could be much more profitable. It's a recurring revenue stream. So as you manage doors, when you're starting to get into the 50 doors and different doors and all that, that becomes a recurring residual that you can, and it's, the average brokers, GCI in this business is, anywhere from 6 to 8, 10%. Property management's 15 to 25% profitability.
Yeah.
So you're going to find that a lot of agents are moving into this challenging space.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the one thing. So what we can think about is when you're going to move into it, what are the things that you need to do and what do you need to look at? Okay. As an agent. And the main thing is, can I have software that combines in the one unit, or, the AppFolios of the world, the Lofty Works of the world, the things that manage the day-to-day property management? Or I look at it as partnering with a property manager like a lender, bringing them into your ecosystem to help manage both sides of that. Hey, rent to buy to list your rental property. I got a listing, but I have a rent person that wants to rent. I send that to my property manager as a renter. That transition back and forth can all be managed through one tech stack as much as possible. That's what we need to move to. So there's lots of different ways if you want to unpack that. Sorry if I feel like I'm rambling, but it's a very interesting topic.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, and again, as you mentioned that it's not like this is rocket science per se, but I don't think a lot of real estate agents think about this because it really does make sense when you look at the potential of building a portfolio of property management, which then will equate into more buy sides, more list sides, like you're basically building a CRM, if you will, a bucket of clients that could be very lucrative, not only on the property management side, but also on the real estate agent side. So I love the mindset there.
Yeah, it's about creating a database full of people that are either renting or homeowners, and that you can transact with them. And you want all those transactions, assets is actually the person. And it's not, I only want to work with people ready to buy anymore. It's, I want to manage my asset, and the asset is your database, right? And so you want to be able to grow those assets and then manage those. So if somebody wants to you to manage their property, or you have a property manager, then if you can manage that seamlessly through like a product like a CRM that's combined, which does not exist. We're creating a new market SaaS model, which is the ability to manage both sides. But at the end of the day, you do need a property management integration or some sort of property management SaaS to really manage the day-to-day, which is really time consuming. In my experience of looking into this. So you're talking your doors, your utilities, your background checks, and oh my gosh, it's daunting. So that can be all automated through AI and SaaS. So having a good property management product helps. But changing your mindset as an agent to maximize your database into that model, or a broker having a property management company starting one, you want to be able to think about asking the right questions when it comes to your SaaS offering. And so, look at that kind of how to combine those CRMs into one unit is really, really critical moving forward.
So what comes first? Does kind of reaching out, prospecting for, potential investors who might use your service, or do you need to build a system? Which I feel like that answer, that the secondary answer here, the latter, is where you have to start, which is, again, when I start prospecting and approaching these people, what is it that I'm offering them as to why they should want to use me as their property manager? What comes first, in your opinion?
I think from an agent that's looking to get into property management, the best thing to do is to start looking for property manager to partner with, just like a lending side of the business. If a property manager already has a book of business, a book of doors, now you can say, hey, I have this database and I want to merge your reach to my reach together to combine a marketing and a funnel. Would be the first step to learn the business. If you don't know much about that, that would be a critical thing. The other thing would be to, if you're a property manager listening to this, is to start putting together a list of brokers, agents, and teams that you'd like, if you're on boots on the ground, managing small amount, under 100 doors, 200, 300, 400 doors. That's a small property management, unit. So I have a team that was on property management, and they also had SaaS at the same time for real estate growth. So it was like a no-brainer for him to combine those into one unit. So thinking about it that way is really networking first, or think about starting a property management business by recruiting a property management person to start your business as a team. Get that started that way. On the flip side, if you're a property management company, a lot of them are now hiring sales reps to, agents to be residential agents at the same time, because the two can't coexist. So there is one barrier. If you're going to run a property management company, you have to have a broker charge that's different from the real estate company. So you have to be different. They cannot be the same thing when you run a property management company. So you have to have two different brokers that you hang your license on. You can manage doors, but you're reporting to two different brokers at the same time.
Got it. So is it, based on the way you just described that, is it safe to say that you're not necessarily encouraging a residential real estate agent, an individual agent, to go out and build their own property management company by themselves?
I would, they want to manage doors, and a lot of agents are starting to move that way. So example being, if you have, it's going to come no matter what we do. In England, for example, where Lofty Works was founded, where we bought a company in property management there, brought it to from the UK to US. They don't have buyer side agency. So in other words, you just list properties, and there is no buy side commission. Not saying that's going to be eliminated here, but we see the pressure happening, right? So a lot of real estate agents now do property management to offset that lack of buy side commission. So they do manage that property. So more and more agents are going to get into a situation where a owner says, you know what, I can't afford to buy. Maybe interest rates are high. I'd like to rent this out. Can you help me? Can you manage this? Can you make sure the utilities, the rent's collected, things like that? And that's kind of how agents stumble into it right now. Can they do that and then add a door? And then can you start doing that? Can you get into that very easily? The answer is yes. The question becomes, can you do it in a way that taking like a Lofty Works type product or a Appfolio type product that manages that day-to-day stuff? That exists. Okay. That's easy. The question becomes, how much of that time and effort do you want to build? What's that revenue stream looks like? And you really want to be in the 25 to 30 door range to really be successful and profitable, or you should partner with the property management to then funnel that business to you. Both options are viable.
All right. Well, let's talk about each one individually.
Okay. So if you're an agent and you're doing lead gen, you're renters and renters and homeowners. You have renters, they're going to be looking for rental properties. They have a rental property. They may be working with a property management company there. So if I'm an agent working with a renter and they may want to buy at some point, I know where they're renting. I know what they're renting. There's an avenue to call that property management company and say, hey, I'm working with your renter. Would love, they're looking potentially do you have anybody managing your asset? So when you think about how do I find out who's managing the asset, I'm going to call that landlord of that rental property. If it's a condo, whoever, there's a landlord. And so you want to build that connection to the landlord. Who owns the property? Owner, unoccupied, renter. As an agent, you can get access to who those landlords are, who their owners are. You have them at your fingertips. So if I'm going to start off my mindset of how do I get the actual property to manage, real estate agents have an advantage there than just getting into it. They know who owns the home. They know who the landlord is. They know who the person is, and they can contact them directly and say, hey, I'd love to manage your property. Are you looking to, is there something I could do? Just like an expired or FSBO. Mm-hmm. One of the things I've used many years ago, it'd be, hey, manage my asset, do you want to manage my asset? And then when you list or buy or dump my asset, right? There's all kinds of property landlords that want to dump their asset, stop renting that property out and sell it. So I think it's a really interesting dynamic as an agent. We've had this at our fingertips. We've never really driven into having to be able to do that from the residential side. And there's never been a product that help us do that. So meaning SaaS and property management all at the same time together. Yeah. So I think, that's probably one of the biggest barriers.
Got it. And then the other?
The other is on the property management side. They're focused on managing those properties, and there's those doors, and they've never really said, I want to hire a bunch of agents and manage agents day to day, because they don't have the SaaS to manage the agent. So that's a disconnected process. So really, I think the barrier to do this effectively and cross that funnel is the actual product SaaS being combined into one unit. If they're separate, then it almost becomes a separate business, and you can't manage both at the same time.
Got it. So, you keep mentioning this product and how this would work to support somebody. Is that kind of the next phase of this conversation, or am I skipping over anything in between?
No, I don't think I don't want to make this about a product. This Lofty Works as a SaaS product is property management standalone, but right now we are really going at the market as a combined real estate vertical to allow real estate agents or property management agents to manage both sides of the business to increase that as a funnel. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that's kind of the message we're looking to put out there, is if brokers and agents want to do both at the same time, then we are coming to the market to do that in a very unique way. It doesn't exist as far as I know. I could be wrong. Something out there could exist, but usually the CRM for property management is different in a different entity than residential. And there's that barrier to get in. It doesn't require you to get into property management to have a combined CRM. It's helpful because you have 10,000 leads in one, and then you have your property management on the side over here. And it would be nice to be able to co-market together. But it's not a barrier. So it is, we can talk a little bit more about these channels and how marketing can enhance your ability to generate leads across both channels. I would really love to have that topic.
Yeah, let's fire. Let's go.
All right. So if I'm an agent and I want to maximize my reach, I want to target renters. I want to target them, and, I can target them through, are they renting, stop renting, buy? But at the same time, I can partner with a property management company that's also looking for renters as well. And I could do co-marketing. So in other words, I can have one side of the equation co-market for people that want to rent a property, but if they don't want to rent and they want to buy, we can co-market our dollars to share in revenue and opportunity to expand our reach within that target audience.
It's an all-in-one solution now. So now when you're marketing to renters, it's not just about get out of renting. It's like, hey, how about leaving this apartment building to go into a single family dwelling?
Exactly. I'm sharing that eyeball. And anytime you can partner with either a property management company or a property manager that's in the business that's managing 50, 60 doors, if you can provide them some value, meaning even technology, it's like I have a tech stack for you. I can help you offset your cost, and you can help bring business to me. I think that is probably the best revenue channel that they can leverage. Property management for most agents are about partnering and sharing the rev cost or dollar amount to earn that eyeball is probably the most important channel to explore when it comes to property management.
What have you seen to be some of the most effective forms of marketing to do this?
Direct marketing, 85% of all transactional business comes from direct marketing. Yes, you can do online marketing like PPC and things like that, but flyers, mailers, postcards, direct marketing to apartment complexes or to people that are renting. Social media is also so hyper localism. Getting in the face of people who live in a community direct, that you can take to coffee, that you can meet. Every time you walk into a grocery store, it's full of homeowners or renters. Somebody's renting in the local area. So it's really about leveraging local marketing and connecting to people that live locally. I think that's really where we are in the commission lawsuit, is localize and hyper localism.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned, and you talk about like sharing costs, and you mentioned postcards, and which is probably the most obvious form of marketing. That's where, and we've interviewed a mortgage company by the name of USA Mortgage, who has a marketing department who also can serve as the creative department because they build this stuff out for you. Now, all of a sudden, you went from maybe paying market price for postcards on your own to bringing in two other partners that already has a subsidized cost. And now you've got arguably an even more effective strategy if you partnered with a mortgage company that provided that, like a USA Mortgage. And then you go out with like you say, put another kind of feather in the cap to attack renters. So now it's like you're talking to them on both sides of the fence now.
That's exactly right. And that's, to me, if I were going to say, Another avenue is lunch and learns, things like that. Stop renting. You can do lunch and learns. You can do events. You can do I usually do a farmer's market coaching call where you create a stop renting or rent, and you could do that with a property management looking to rent, because everybody's always looking to move and change people. And you never know, 18-year-olds to 29-year-olds, they end up buying down the road. So it's really about managing the entire life cycle of your eyeball and partnering with the people that are going to help that process through in your tech stack. So one of the things I think we can shift is permission to market, permission to call, permission to talk to. The TPCA rules are making it much more difficult to have permission. You, as an agent, if you have a lead, you're really the only person that has the ability to contact that person. So if they're a renter and they're in your database, you now have an asset, because now you can contact them about a mortgage. You can contact them about renting. You can contact them about moving. You can contact them about building their credit repair up and anything like that, and service their needs. And so part of that need is going to be renting, or actually renting my property, or vacation rental my property. So if you're already got an eyeball and they're in your database, you're the only person that can really actually reach out to them and talk to them legally. Mm-hmm. So agents are in the front end of that conversation, even more than property managers and even more than lenders. So how do we maximize the channel to more either finance our house or rent a house or buy a house or sell my investment property? The real estate should be at the center of that entire life cycle. And so having property management or technology to service property management is really critical channel for agents to think about and get into to expand their reach.
Yeah. Strong leverage there, isn't it?
It really is, actually.
Yeah. So now where do we go from here?
I would say that agents, if they want to get into that, like I said, they can obviously do a consult with Lofty and one of our people that sell Lofty as a service when it comes to SaaS. They want to learn about the residential property aspect of things. And in that, or they can actually request a demo of Lofty Works, and we can demo that as well. So even that, or, that would be a stop with us. If I were going to say, as an agent looking at this and say, what do I need to do? What should I do first? Take a property management agent out to lunch. Anybody, they're real easy to find. Take one out to lunch, ask them what their day-to-day is like. And then if you're a team or a broker looking to get into property management, same thing. Do a consult. It's easy to do. What that need, there's plenty of people out there that leverage property management, do consulting on that. If you're a property management company looking to get into the residential side, I would say partner with a team that's in the residential side already to build out that and connect that database, and not try to hire your agent to be your actual selling agent. I would partner with a team first, learn what you need to do, and you can always land and expand from there. Building a real estate company from scratch, or building a team to sell residential real estate from scratch, is a really daunting task. And I would not advise people to start that way.
Yeah. So talk to me a little bit about the tech piece here, which is Lofty, and how, I get it. There's a traditional, because Lofty was Chime, correct?
Correct.
And so traditionally, it's a CRM, right? But now you're merging to effectively to have an all-in-one solution here. So talk first about the original Lofty, aka Chime, and what the benefit is to an agent from that perspective who may not be familiar, and then from there segue over into kind of this merged product.
That's a really good question. And I think this is confusing to agents and how we talk about tech. So I'll first by say is Lofty is not a CRM, neither is Chime. It is a revenue platform. And what that means is that if you're an agent seat user, or a broker that buys it for their agents, or a team that buys it for their agents, or an individual Lofty agent that bought Chime, is that your whole front end website, consumer and marketing and advertising to reach that consumer, pay-per-click marketing, and every aspect to get in front of that consumer can be done through one tech stack. So lead gen is obviously something that agents think they go to the grocery store and buy. It should be part of your entire journey, and you should have as much of that in one ecosystem as possible to lower your cost. So Chime and think about Chime and Lofty is about for the individual agent to manage the consumer to close through one technology stack and have the best of breed for all of that in one product. So that's a platform journey. Part of that is your AI and your CRM. And that's all about follow-up traffic and follow-up. And that's your CRM. But there's also traffic, lead gen, exposure that needs to be part of that. So Lofty manages that entire process for agent, team, office, broker, corporate. So we can run an entire enterprise solution for an entire organization.
Can you also work for an individual agent as well?
100%. So yeah, Lofty agent, Lofty team, Lofty broker, Lofty enterprise. So all of these 4 components make up a business. The challenge for brokers is, how do I get an agent to adopt the product that I put out for them? Because they don't want to use the broker product. They'll have to go out and buy their own. And then they spend a lot of money on buying products. So one of the unique things about Lofty and Chime is this idea of privacy and independency at each layer. So if a broker offers Lofty agent, they're lofting at $4.99 product, they're giving them for whatever free or some tech fee, but it's still Lofty agent. It's still it's still private. It could be a brand. They could do marketing, advertising. It's huge value for a broker to provide that tech. At the same time, it's huge value if the broker doesn't have it, the agent could buy it themselves. It's kind of the way you want to look at it. So then you merge that over to property management. Same thing. It's now CRM and managing the property, but if you have Lofty and that, you have your flyers, your mailers, your postcards, you're boosting a parental property, you're doing social blasts. That's all part of Lofty that can be now merged into property management. All those same tools are needed for property management, marketing the listing, syncing to rent.com, having all of this stuff integrate into your property management deck. That's all property management. So how does an agent live in those 2 worlds is very tough. If you have to learn one, now you have to learn something else. So what we're trying to do is say, well, let's make it easy. Let's put these 2 together.
Got it. So it can, when you described it, going back to saying it's not a CRM, you said it's a revenue. Is that what you said? It's a revenue. Yeah. Explain what that means.
So if I'm an agent and I have a CRM, all it is you're using it for drip emails. And I always talk about
database management.
Well, CRMs are meant to manage client relationships, people you're talking to, something about. Whenever I interview agents or I do speak in public, I always ask, how many people like getting drip emails? And nobody raises their hand. Yeah. How many think drip emails and CRMs are the most important thing for your business? And every real estate agent raises their hand. I go, well, that doesn't make sense to me. You just told me you do not like getting drip emails, and yet you're going to make that your primary way you converse with your database. And all we're doing is pushing people away by leveraging, almost in a way, spammy emails or promotional emails. That
actually pushing them away, AKA they're unsubscribing, and then we are effectively gone, lost. Yeah, they're never going to see from us.
Yeah. It's like CRMs are designed to meet client and relationship and transactional and these things to manage that day to day. And yes, we have a great AI system for that. What we're really missing in the space for revenue is nurture. It's watching the thousands and thousands of people, keeping them engaged, letting the agent know when is it the right time to put them in client relationship management, as opposed to spamming them about, I'm a great agent. And by the way, are you ready to buy? Pay me a commission. In reality, we have to nurture. And so one of the things on commission lawsuits, a great topic, is to make sure that you're nurturing your database to the best of your ability to keep them alive, grow that fish into a transaction. Well, CRMs are not designed to do that effectively.
Yeah.
Because they're not connected to. So revenue is about traffic times lead capture times follow-up is the revenue engine. If you don't have traffic, you can't get people into your restaurant, your business, your real estate company. The traffic is not just Google pay-per-click; it's flyers, mailers, postcards.
But why is that different than? I mean, I guess you're dividing the line of a CRM being an existing customer and the revenue conversation being around a potential new customer.
Correct. So if you have traffic and they originated through your search, so you did a Google pay-per-click, now you're competing for that eyeball with Zillow and Redfin on an even playing field. You're now the portal for that person. So you can choose to nurture them in a way that causes them to want to transact with you someday, because we don't know where they are until we talk to them. Or you can drip campaign and say, hey, are you looking to move now? Can I have what's your process? Well, I'm going to move 99% of that lead into the I'm offended mode. If that's my tack, looking for the needle in the haystack of leads, I want to nurture them and I want to grow transactional opportunities in my database, which is my strongest value. The database you create is your strongest revenue source, both on rental properties and property management, and on homeowners that need to list and buy. So why would we want to say, I don't want to work with you unless you're ready to buy? What about the 90%? That's listing alerts, that's property alerts, it's asking questions about their search, that's AI. No human being can do that. That's what we really need to think about. Nurture, that has to happen through search, through property alerts, market reports. CRMs don't do that. CRMs are just storage devices where we have content. Mm-hmm. Whereas nurture is about creating engagement through the property search and what the consumers are doing real time while they're doing it.
Gotcha. Now let's talk about the merge of the two that now bring them both together.
So rental properties and property management, everybody that's renting wants to buy a house someday. They're dreaming. So why can't a property management combine send property alerts both for purchase and rent at the same time through one tech stack, through one journey? The consumer's on a journey of rent.com and Zillow and they're on this prop journey of looking at rentals and purchase. Why not combine the two into one journey so you are the person that's at the center of it? That's really at the highest level. That's all we're trying to do.
Basically retain that, because I don't know the statistics on this. You might know this, but I think the reality is that someone who's been renting for, I'm not talking about somebody right out of college. I'm talking about maybe somebody in their mid 30s, 40s, 50s and up. If they have been renting their entire life, there's probably a reason why they're not buying a home. And I would bet at probably greater than 50%, although they dream to buy a home, will never get their quote unquote shit together to buy said home. And therefore, why not keep them? Why just leave them for dead, so to speak, in the business world and bring them into your web so that you can, continue
create a homeowner.
Yeah. Or continue to create them new opportunities for new homes to rent, basically.
Yeah. And then be an advocate for a landlord who says, I have a database of 3,000 renters. I would love to manage your property and help you take that burden off your hat. And if you ever want to sell it, I'll work a deal out with you if you ever want to sell it. Why not manage your entire ecosystem through one journey as opposed to, and that's what Lofty Works is. And it's not just, hey, use our product. This is a channel that is untapped, a massive revenue channel that we've not tapped into. It's kind of been fractional, one left or right. And now what we're saying is, no. This is really one channel of opportunity that's really untapped and not a large barrier to get into for an agent.
Yeah. I love it. Well, we're coming up towards the hour here, and which I don't think you anticipated, but that's how good conversations go.
That's how we vibe.
So is there any, kind of recap thoughts that you'd like to share, leave our audience with before I ask you how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I'm really passionate, and we're really passionate about really managing the prop tech value space in real estate. And what I would tell agents to do is really think of themselves as the consumer facing space when it comes to their value as an agent. They're a valuable asset to the life cycle of the most important thing that we do in society, which is provide a home for people. This is the one thing that we do. And I think as an industry, we lost that as we evolved technology and lead gen and Zillow. And now we're getting it back, because now people have to do a commission, a contract on the purchase side and a contract on the buy side. And you're more relevant to this now than ever before moving forward. That is the opportunity we have. That's a message I want everybody to know. The opportunity we have is now we're relevant. We have to be relevant, and we have to create a different value prop that we are your source of the center of your home purchase or rent purchase or whatever. And the agent should be at the center of that advice. And I hope that if they take anything out of this call, that everybody within Lofty and Lofty Works is trying to make sure that we can influence the industry to make agents the center of the business of owning or renting a property.
Amen. And Brian, what's the best way if somebody wants to get in touch with you, schedule a demo, do any of those things? How do they do so?
So if they want to learn more about Lofty, they can just go to the website, lofty.com. They can actually access under property management. Lofty Works there, find out about those types of products. If they want to do a consult, just book a consult with one of our internal consultants. If they want to get in touch with me, my first and last name, so Brian Hoialmen at lofty.com as an executive. They can do that. I'm not shy. I don't mind.
You better spell Hoialmen.
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 They can Google me if they like, and they'll find some information. They can look me up on LinkedIn. But if they, at the end of the day, I think the best thing to do is just learn and look at this as a learning opportunity, not a sales opportunity to come in and learn what we offer. We're not here to sit and drive product down. We're here to educate the communities and how they can be better. And there's nothing wrong with looking at product or you learn something on every time. And there's a value in doing that type of thing. So I think that we often shy away from getting sold something when in fact, actually learning something about a demo is very powerful. It's very powerful to an agent and broker or anybody to learn. And so look at, if you want to look at Lofty Works, hopefully we can educate you and you can learn something about the space. And if we're a good fit, we're a good fit. If we're not, you learn something and it's not a waste of time.
I love it. Brian, it's been a pleasure, man. This is fun. And I tell you what, for those of you that are still here, you're probably already in the cup half full mentality. It's the cup half empty that didn't even tune in or turned us off too soon. And I would implore those of you that have that right attitude to be more cognizant about spreading that positivity. I think the industry needs it. The weak ones will weed themselves out. The strong will continue to survive. But I think it's important for you all as a real estate community within your brokerages, within your teams, to really put a focus on having that cup half full mentality. Because as Brian mentioned today, like you open my eyes. I interview people all the damn time, and I hadn't thought about this. It makes a lot of sense. And I think because we do become so channeled and so tunnel focused, siloed, so to speak, that we don't always open up our eyes to the opportunities that exist. And this is a great one.
Yeah, I can't agree more. It's well said. The best way that I like to fish, and the best way I look at it is the consumers are fish, and the worst thing you could do is take your boat out of the water and take your line out. The more lines you have in the water, the better and more opportunity you have to fish. And what we're trying to do is increase the lines that you have in the water to grow. And if you look at it that way, I hope we both educated each other on this. And I hope that the people watching this said, hey, I've been ignoring this fish. Let's put some lines in the water and let's work with organizations and learn more about how to do that.
Love it. Brian, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing with our audience. And I look forward to staying in touch.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Take care, Jeff.
Lab Coat Agents Podcast.